Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX India A-List, where we bring to you candid conversations with some of India's biggest names. Listen in to this exclusive interview with actress Nushrratt Bharuccha as she delves into her experiences, insights and her latest project, Akeli.
A versatile actor.
What is the reason you said yes to the project? What convinced you?
The one team in all my years of working who have really stuck to a collaborative creative process where they've taken everybody's thought in account.
Well known for her challenging role selection.
How was the shoot, Nushrratt? Was it challenging? Was it emotionally draining for you?
No, it was honestly very difficult for me because I'd just come off a hectic schedule of back-to-back films. And I think lockdown jaise hi khatam hua, everybody ran on sets to make films.
NewsX India A-List proudly recognizes Nushrratt Bharuccha for excellence in acting.
Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on this special interview as part of our NewsX A-List series. We're joined today by actor Nushrratt Bharuccha. Nushrratt, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being with us today. I want to start out by asking you about your new upcoming film, Akeli. It looks very, very interesting, but what is the reason you said yes to the project? What convinced you?
I think the conviction the makers had of the film, that's the director and Vicky sir and Shashank sir and my producers, they have come to my house, they've come to my sets wherever I'm shooting, and they've actually sat and discussed every doubt I had, every question I had. I think this is the one team in all my years of working who have really stuck to a collaborative creative process where they've taken everybody's thought in account and gone back and seen if it can be corrected in script or incorporated in the story, or just connect all those loopholes and the logics which eventually even audiences will ask questions on. And that whole process of wanting to do the film right and to do it sensibly was something that really touched my heart, if you could say that. The intention was right, the passion was right, and that's why I said, I'm going to do it with you guys. I'm going to trust you guys and take on this journey.
Right, and how was the shoot, Nushrratt? Was it challenging? Was it emotionally draining for you, playing such a character? It's obviously an intense performance. How was the shoot for you?
No, it was honestly very difficult for me because I'd just come off a hectic schedule of back-to-back films, and I think lockdown jaise hi khatam hua, everybody ran on sets to make films, and all the films I'd committed to were suddenly on floors. So I was just running from one set to another to another. Then I'd just finished promoting and releasing Janhet. I was in the middle of a lot of stuff, and I honestly wanted a break because right after Akeli I was starting Chori 2. And I wanted to be mentally at peace and relaxed before Chori 2. I didn't want to take on a film. But these guys had waited for me for quite a while. And they had a very real logistic problem that if they don't shoot it before the winters, because we want that terrain and we want to go, to a country which gives us that dry, this thing where that element adds to the reality of the situation and the place of the story. If we don't shoot it in this time period, we'd have to come back 1 year later. And I just couldn't do that. Yeah, I couldn't be a person who would make them wait for a whole year. It's not cool. So I just somehow cleared some dates and landed up in a foreign country and said, okay, let's shoot this.
Now, Nushrratt, audiences have loved, of course, your performances, in hit comedy films, many that you have given. Was it a conscious decision to diversify though, to look at different genres, to look at different types of characters and scripts? Was it a conscious decision, or is it something that just came your way, these projects?
No, there was not a conscious choice at all actually. It was not something I went out in the industry or the trade or the market and asked for, reached out, or actors put out a message and they try and meet those kind of filmmakers to do those films. I did none of that. Chori just happened to come my way. I did Chori, and even before Chori released, I had 2-3 other films that had come my way which were of different genres is what a commonly used term is, but for an actor, they are from absolutely different worlds, absolutely different situations, stories, conflicts, and I feel like, even if I just do, say, 20 films in my career, those 20 films have to be something I know I've done a variation of stories, shades. That's where the fun is. I've always actually said this. I said I don't like doing what I've done before in a film or in a character or a role. That's my preferred choice. Abhi agar nahi milta hai, same hi milta hai, so I'd do that also because it's not. I of course enjoyed what I played, but now if I did a film like Akeli, I would not do a similar subject again. It's not. It's honestly not correct for the film, the one that I've done and the one that I'd do again. And also I won't have fun doing it again because I've exhausted myself emotionally in this journey. I can't do the same thing again. So it was never a conscious choice. It's just come my way and I'm exploring it.
Right. Now, coming back to Akeli now, it is obviously set abroad. It's set, in a warlike situation in the Middle East. Did you do research for this project, Nushrratt, or did you completely trust your director's vision?
My director done a lot of research on his own actually. And I feel as an actor, for me specifically, and I've learned this the hard way, is if you are not in sync with your director, you don't see the vision he sees, and if you can't trust him and he can't trust you, then no matter how good that film is, we'll end up spoiling it fully. So I had to trust him with it. I had to go back and ask him all the questions which maybe he didn't ask himself also. And he was a director who would go, he'd actually say, okay, wait. He'll go, he'll take a day, he'll do the homework and come back with an answer, with an option, with a solution to everything I've asked, which I think is a great process because if मैं एक चीज़ सोच के करूँगी, he'll say ये मैंने सोचा नहीं था, this doesn't work for me, तो कोई फ़ायदा नहीं था. It's better if we are in sync of what we're going to do when we get onto set that day and how we're going to execute those particular scenes emotionally, technically, in every way. So I honestly did trust him on most of his research. I of course did mine as well. But mine is more about getting into the girl's character, getting into the film, finding my logic to it, justification to it, my emotional conviction to it. Because why does she say a certain line? Why does she pick up a gun or even a bottle of water? Has to have a backstory to it. I have to know why she's doing it. I can't just do what I feel like. So that is my background and my homework.
Okay. Now I want to ask you personally, what sort of genre do you like to watch? What sort of films and OTT content do you watch in your free time? People love your comedies. Now you're doing, thrillers and horrors as well. But what do you enjoy watching in your free time?
I watch a lot of psychological thrillers. I watch a lot of whodunits. I watch a lot of murder mysteries. A lot of them. I think I have nipped out everything that there is on the OTT platforms because it keeps me on the edge. It keeps me hooked. I think there are very few romantic dramas, I mean, unless it's a Korean drama, then I definitely watch it, that I've picked up on my own and started watching. I'd first go and look for a thriller or a mystery. So that's my favorite.
Okay. My final question to you, just looking back at your career now, which do you believe has been one or two game-changing projects for you, which you believe have, changed the course of your career?
Thankfully, you've asked for two. So I'll give you two because they both have been game changers in their own way. The first, I think, was Love, Sex or Dhoka, because while shooting that film, I actually fell in love with the process of being an actor. That film is what hooked me on to being here and braving it all and tackling it all and still keep doing this day in and day out. And I can tell you this as a fact, any actor who doesn't love what they're doing cannot sustain. They cannot be here. So that film made me fall in love with this process, which is why it was a game changer personally for me. The second film was Sonu Ki Tito Ki Sweetie, because that game changer on a larger scale was a box office success, was a stamp on the fact that I'm right here, and opened up so much more for me to do as options of films to choose, characters to choose, filmmakers to choose. Suddenly it gave me choice, which I didn't have before that. So that's also a very powerful game changer in an actor's career, is that they have the power of choosing it.
India's first PASSIONPRENEUR mentor.
India's first PASSIONPRENEUR mentor.
2016, and I was in a job and I was working there for 16 plus years in different companies. That year, one video and one book literally changed my life.
Helping people achieve their dreams.
Mentored so many budding entrepreneurs. What have you found, Dev, to be some of the key characteristics or say qualities in someone who ultimately does become successful?
So first C stands for common sense, second C stands for commitment, and third C stands for courage.
NewsX India A-list proudly recognizes Gadhvi for excellence in business.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX India A-list with me, Devika Chopra, and we have a very special guest with us today. His name is Gadhvi. He's the founder of the PASSIONPRENEUR movement. Dev, very interesting. Your journey began from very humble backgrounds and you've now become India's first PASSIONPRENEUR mentor. Could you tell us what was the pivotal moment or the turning point in your life that led you on this path?
I still clearly remember, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. This was year 2016 and I was in a job and I was working there for 16 plus years in different companies. That year, one video and one book literally changed my life. Just to give a background, I come from a very humble family. My dad was a truck driver, grew up in slums, completed my graduations there. And I worked in a job not knowing what to do in life. No passion, no mission, no vision. This 2016 was a wake-up call for me, which made me realize that I was suffering from a disease called mediocrity. It's such a fatal disease, even doctor cannot detect it, right? Corona can be detected after a few days, but mediocrity eats away so many years. But when I realized that there's something missing in my life, because I was making money, right? I had decent job, family, but there was no fulfillment, there was no joy, there was no excitement. And then I stumbled upon a video about sales training from Grant Cardone, and I read his book, The 10X Rule, which made me realize that we all have huge potential, but I was not using even 1% of my potential. And that, man, I really wish whatever I'm feeling right now, I changed my mindset, I took massive action, my energy changed, my fulfillment happened. I said, wow, if this could change by just changing my thought process, my mindset, I really wish what would happen if I continue doing this, upgrade my skills. That's how I found my passion, created content on social media. That was one of the life-changing moments, the book and the video.
Okay, so a lot of our people, of course, viewers may not know what PASSIONPRENEUR is all about. Can you just shed some light on what this movement is all about?
Well, PASSIONPRENEUR movement is our fight against the slavery. When I say slavery, slavery of what? The slavery of somebody doing less than their potential, which is the definition of mediocrity. You can be slave at 1 crore, you can be slave at 1 million also. But how you can come out of this comfort bubble of not knowing who you are, what is your passion, what is your mission, what is your vision, and how do you maximize your passion and make money from it? So the whole movement is waking people up from the mediocrity, helping them to find a passion and convert that into a real business. So the work will never be boring again and you can live every day a Sunday life.
So Dev, a lot of people actually do, like you said, feel very stuck in their 9-to-5 job, in the rat race. As the founder of the PASSIONPRENEUR movement, what is really your advice and your work with them? How do you work with the people that you mentor?
Yeah, so basically when somebody comes in, typically working in a job, no idea their mission, vision, passion, they will start with the process of clarity. Step one is, who are you? Why are you born? So if I ask this question to most of people, why are you born? Most like, what do you mean? Nobody asked this question. They've asked the question, what's your degree? What's your qualification? How much money you make? But why are you born? Nobody asked. So first step is getting clarity of why are you born? What is your purpose? What's your mission? What's your vision? Then second step, once you have the clarity of your purpose and also what are the things that you can do to add value to people, then the second step is visibility. Like when nobody knows you, nobody can buy your product or service. So how do you get more visible? How do you create content? How do you, go on social media? And step three is about how do you convert your knowledge, your wisdom into a product or a service, right? You want to become a passionpreneur, you want to quit your job, you want to start building your business on passion, somebody needs to buy something, right? So what do you offer? your product, your service, like my mentees, a lot of them are in dog grooming business, coaching, training, a lot of chartered accountants, a lot of trademarking, real estate. So whatever your passion is, how do you convert that into a business through a product or service? That's the step 3. And step 4 is how do you monetize?
Right.
If nobody pays you money, it's still a thought, it's still a dream. It does not become reality until you learn how to monetize. So how do you monetize it? Through one-on-one closing, platform closing, system closing. This is the entire process people go through in 4 months and change their life. A lot of my mentees, by the way, Devika, they have become crorepati in less than 12 to 18 months of starting the passionpreneur journey. So that is how powerful the process is, and I really, really enjoy helping people.
Well, it's intriguing me as well as I'm speaking to you. Maybe I'll also be a part of the movement soon. But
For sure.
I mean, you've mentored so many budding entrepreneurs. What have you found, Dave, to be some of the key characteristics or say qualities in someone who ultimately does become successful?
I think there is one framework I teach my students. It's called 3C framework. What does the 3C stand for? If you have these 3 C's, you can have 4th C, which is crorepati. So first C stands for common sense. Second C stands for commitment. And third C stands for courage. If you have common sense, which we think is common, it's actually not. Like for example, it's common sense to invest in yourself and continue to learn and grow, read self-help books, have a coach or a mentor. But how many people actually do that, right? It's a common sense to upgrade yourself and learn new technology, new skill like AI is coming and dominating. But a lot of people don't do that, right? So common sense is number 1. Number 2 is commitment, right? A lot of people say, I say, do you want to be successful? I say, yes. How committed are you to become crorepati or successful? I said, 90%. I said, what? Like, if you're in the ocean, you're drowning. If I say, I want to save you, how committed are you? Of course, you'll say 100%. But a lot of people do not say, I'm 100% committed and follow through. So commitment is second quality. Third is courage. No guts, no glory, right? So if you don't have courage, I say that you use 3 organs in business. Is heart, mind, and gut, right? You start with heart, your business, then you bring your mind into it so that you can make money from it as well. And then you got to have gut so that you can keep taking risk. Bigger the risk, bigger the reward. So these are the common qualities, and I think most of the people can have this, and most of the people can build a business.
Absolutely. And now that we've spoken about the characteristics and qualities, I'd also like to just tap into the fact that, of course, a lot of times entrepreneurship is romanticized because when we see business people, we always usually only see them at the end of their success.
Yeah.
That's when you hear the stories.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to understand from you that it's also filled with, of course, a lot of challenges. So could you share with our viewers, what those challenges really are? What were your own challenges and what did you learn from them?
Yeah. Well, as you rightly said, I think it looks a lot of glorified. You become a millionaire, traveling the world, impacting so many lives, writing books. But it has every year, Devika, I actually go through a swamp period. That I feel like, man, why am I doing this? Why am I here? And that is the risk we all take as an entrepreneur, as a passionpreneur, that our ability to persevere despite all the ups and downs. I went through a lot of challenges starting from the first year, before even I started my business. The first campaign itself was a disaster, like beginning. And I still remember it was still Gurgaon, and I attended, I did my one event, and I approved a lot of people to attend my free workshop, that at the end of the workshop, I'm going to shortlist my mentees. Out of 60 people, only 20 people showed up. And out of 20 people, nobody bought. And that literally, and I still remember clearly, when everybody had left the hall, I went in the corner of the seminar hall and I had tears in my eyes. I usually don't cry, not that crying makes you weak, but I'm usually a very tough guy. But I cried that day. I was like, why people are not believing in me? I want to change people's life. I was stuck in life and I came from there to building my own business around passion. I want to help people, but why people are not believing? I had no money coming in. I had quit my job at that time. That was the biggest swamp period which I had to overcome. The next event was a super hit, and then rest is all history.
And Dave, you've also been often quoted as saying that your passion is in fact your best profession. So how do you think someone can identify their true passion and then also convert that into a profitable business?
Yeah, I think it's a very simple thing. The passion is always within us. It's just that we don't realize it. You know, God has given us some gifts, some abilities, some skills. There are something that you're good at, I'm not good at. There are some things I'm good at, you may not be good at. You're using your gifts, I'm using mine. But you know what? Unfortunately, 90% people die without even realizing their true gifts. So the first thing you need to do in order to find your gift, your true passion, is to ask right questions to yourself. Most of us, we've been asking wrong questions like, how do I make money? How do I become successful? How do I become wealthy? How do I, me. So when we go from me-centric to them-centric, asking the right questions, by asking, hey, what problems can I solve for this? You know, what can I serve? How can I solve problems? How can I help people? How can I, be more valuable to other people? The universe has interesting way to giving you the right answers. When I ask this question, hey, how can I help people? Things just completely changed for me. In fact, I never thought that I'll build a business around what I'm doing today as a coach, as a mentor. I thought that, I'm just going to serve people. And then people reached out to me and said, hey, do you do paid coaching? I said, wow, iske paise bhi milenge. I'll get paid also for this. And then that just went to the next level. And all my mentees, thousands of them, they found their passion because they asked what problems we can solve for this. How can we serve others? And problems ki kami nahi hai, right?
Absolutely.
There's no shortage of problem, but there is a big shortage of problem solvers because a lot of people want to be a follower. They don't look at the problem and say, I'm going to solve this problem. So ask yourself what problems you can solve. That is how you find your passion. Of course, I've written more in detail in my books. And then how do you convert that into business? Is follow the 4-step process that I shared with you earlier. Anybody follows the process will be able to make money from your passion.
And Dev, before we let you go, of course, we also have to discuss what your aims are for the future. So as far as the Passionpreneur project is concerned, in India, what is it that you want to do with it in the future, and how do you now wish to influence and sort of change the landscape?
Sure, that's a good question. See, when I started my journey, it took me 2 years to learn and make money from my passion. Because I went from coach to coach to coach, mentor to mentor, seminar to seminar. I was like, yeah, I really wish there was like a one-stop solution.
Right.
For somebody coming from a job, I have no idea about business. Business ka bhi nahi pata. How do I start? I said, man, I'm going to create this ecosystem, which is like a one-stop solution. And that's so far in last 6+ years, I've been able to create this successfully. And we'll keep refining. So this Passionpreneur movement, it actually started from, hey, how do you change your mindset? To how do you improve your skill? Then how do you find your passion and make money from it? And then now it has gone to a place that, hey, how can you have a holistically successful life, which is not just about the money. Zyada paisa ho gaya doesn't mean you'll be more happy. Of course, more money is good, but without fulfillment, without health, without relationship, without meaning to life, it has no meaning. So now creating an ecosystem where people can change themselves mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, and even socially with the relationship and all those things. So that is the ecosystem that we have created, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have great people in my team, great mentors who are enabling me to do so.
Well, Dev, it's been a lovely conversation with you, and thank you so much for sharing all about the Passionpreneur movement and the project with the people in India. And I'm sure, of course, a lot of people will be inspired, and hopefully they'll also perhaps reach out to you, maybe to take that next big step in life.
I'm really glad. Thank you so much for all watching this and sharing a lot of love, and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Journey of an academician to a surgeon.
How has your journey been as an academician teaching students and then also as a surgeon with patients?
My aim is like academician is not only to teach them, but to also make them as a good surgeon like me.
Invented new techniques to save his patients.
Are there any new techniques or procedures that you have invented?
Concomitant procedure. Suppose someone is having a coronary artery disease, that is the blocks in the arteries of the heart, and also blocks in the peripheral arteries, like the artery which is supplying the leg. So I use a single conduit to cover the thing. That's my invention, I proudly say that.
NewsX India A-list proudly recognizes Dr. Durgaprasad Reddy for excellence in healthcare.
Everyone, welcome. You're watching NewsX India A-list with me, Devika Chopra. Today we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Durgaprasad Reddy, a cardiothoracic surgeon. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on NewsX. I begin by asking you, Dr. Reddy, how has your journey been as an academician teaching students and then also as a surgeon with patients?
Yeah, thank you for inviting here. And see, my main asset is patience. So all because of my patience, I am here now. So this journey was a lot of ups and downs. It was a rough road. It was a smooth road. It's very difficult to explain how is this, but one ultimate thing is the patients have been very trustworthy, and they trusted me so much that I could come to this level. So they made me to do more innovative things. They made me to get into all the toughest of surgeries, and that's how I'm here. And as an academician, I see everyday operating itself is teaching for my residents who watch my surgery, who assist my surgery. My aim is, like academician, is not only to teach them, but to also make them as a good surgeon like me. You know, that is what we aim at. I want all my residents, all my PGs, all my assistants to become like me, to operate. That is what is our main aim. And of course, teaching students, you know, you keep yourself updated in this advanced world. And second thing is, you also know what the young minds are thinking about it. So I think it was great, you know, teaching and doing surgeries. It goes hand in hand.
Right.
And I'm a prof, and it's well-being this way.
Also, at the same time, Dr. Reddy, what are your accomplishments, if you could shed some light on them, in the field of cardiac surgery?
Yeah, this is my almost close to 25 years of cardiac surgery, and we have done close to 17,000 cardiac surgeries. I specialized mostly in adults and pediatric. I do everything. Like I do adult cardiac surgery, pediatric cardiac surgery, neonates. My least weight is around 1.8 kgs for a child, and you know, the ranges are different. That's mainly because we in a medical college, I'm a professor, we tend to do everything. So our team is geared to take up any kind of this one. And we also, you know, do a lot of thoracic work. You know, the lung surgeries, what we call, and vascular surgeries, transplants. This is what it is. It's a good run. I've been in this medical college field from 2004. So we have done close to 17,000 cardiac surgeries. That's a great number, and all because of the trust what the management had on us, and the trust by the patients. You know, there's a saying, no point opening a shop without a customer. And the patients have been an important role in our treatment in our hospital field, and see, we greet our patients. They are our gods. So that's how we've been good here.
At the same time, sir, over the past few years in your medical profession, are there any new techniques or procedures that you have invented?
Yeah, see, we place in a very center of Bangalore, and the most surgeries what we get is all complex, rejected by some other hospital. This is what we get. So that made us to invent, you know, easier techniques and more advanced kind of things. Yeah, of course, our team has invented like what we call as concomitant procedure. Suppose someone is having a coronary artery disease, that is the blocks in the arteries of the heart, and also blocks in the peripheral arteries, like the artery which is supplying the leg. So I use a single conduit to cover the thing. That's my invention, I proudly say that. So we've been doing that for almost 50 surgeries. We have done that, and good results we have had on that. And we also, in congenitals, we made a lot of inventions, like we use single patch closures for something called as AV canal defects, and tetralogy blue babies, what we call. We had one of the largest series, like close to 1,000 surgeries, and I have also made, there's something called as transhandler patch we put. There's many like that we say. So we don't cut the valve completely so that we prevent this PR, what we call as pulmonary regurgitation. We leave the posterior and the lateral aspect of the valve. There's so many things like that. Every surgery is like, you know, we find some new inventions to do that. Unlike other common surgeries and other things, whenever it comes to congenital and very complex adult surgeries, we plan ourselves and make our own kind of style of doing. And we've made a lot of papers on that.
At the same time, sir, I'm sure our viewers want to know if an angiogram is required for everyone, and if so, which category of populations should undergo the same?
See, angiogram is an invasive procedure. Of course, angiogram is a gold standard for understanding whether you need to do work on the coronary artery disease, that is, whether you need to do angioplasty, medical management, or a bypass surgery. So, what I suggest is anyone above 40 years should undergo TMT test first as a routine every year. That is, TMT is treadmill test. You have to connect your ECG leads to your chest and make them run, and for 9 minutes, and if any changes are seen in that, suppose the TMT is positive, that's what we call, then we subject them for a sure angiogram.
Okay.
Or if the patient is only 30 years and has been chronic smoker, symptomatic, straight away go and do an angiogram and find out any blockades are there. Not all patients require angiogram, but angiogram is definitely a gold standard for understanding the coronary artery disease. A lot of tests have come, like CT angio, so many things have come, but we always, as a cardiac sciences, we feel that angiogram is a gold standard for understanding the coronary anatomy, their diseases.
At the same time, sir, in spite of being a very busy surgeon, we've also heard that you conduct a lot of camps across India. What really motivates you to do that?
Oh yeah, camps are my, it's like, going to, see, I don't conduct camps in towns, cities. I go to the interior parts of most of the parts of India. I used to go to Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, interiors of West Bengal, UP. I do camps because preventive cardiology, this is basically not to go and try to operate on them and things. I've operated across country. So I go and conduct camps. Before camps, I give a small talk on preventive cardiology and then conduct these camps, like I do screening echoes and ECG. Someone requires any kind of surgery, I get them to my place, that is Gadhvi Institute of Medical Sciences in Bangalore. The reason why we get there is because we are entitled for Arogya and also Ayushman Bharat, which is very good what our PM has done it, and all these patients can get, only reason is so that we can detect and pick up early diseases and treat them appropriately. Unless, I've seen so many people come to us with a very end stage and we try to operate, the results are not that successful. Always try to pick these people very early. That's why I do this camp. That motivates me to go to the interior parts and do camps and pick up these people so that we can give them the good life. That is what I believe in.
At the same time, sir, apart from serving your patients through your surgeries, we've also learned that you are a philanthropist. If you can just tell our audiences a little bit more about that.
Philanthropist, I'm not that great to explain what we do, because I really feel odd, what we do, we can't say this. We don't expect anything what we do. Okay. We do small things like any patients required surgery, we do most of them in free surgeries we do. And I also donate 10 to 12 valves every month for poor patients, and children's, of course, they can live, there are generations, so get them operated, they'll definitely going to survive for life, and so if they don't have any financial support, we support them fully to get their surgeries done. And other works, like I do small works in village. I adopted 4 or 5 villages and I try to take care like water supply, electricity, roads. I built some small, Kalyan Mantaps thing, so that they can get their selves, suppose you want to book a marriage, it's not that easy in this world. So I try to motivate these people to come and get their marriages, and like free water we give, roads we make, lights to the villages, street lights, all these things. Apart from surgery, the joy of giving, I think one should understand that. That's
absolutely.
What we see.
And sir, of course, I'm sure a lot of younger surgeons are also watching you. So what is your message to them?
Yeah, in this world, a lot of younger surgeons are there, and my advice and my request, I can't say it's advice, my request is most of the surgeons, they want to take simpler branches. They don't come into critical care surgeries like cardiac surgery, neurosurgery. They don't come into critical care areas. So because they want to operate, they want to leave the hospital, they don't want to look back at the hospital. This cardiac surgery is like, it's like they need to be on their toes, always emergency, there's no margin of error. So whenever there's no margin of error in surgeries, you need to be with the patients until he goes home. So I always suggest, someone have to be very critical in treating these patients. So I always say this young surgeon should take up critical care areas like cardiac surgery, and so that, it's a good branch, and you get a lot of satisfaction when you really cure a patient and send him home, that satisfaction I don't think you'll get in any other branches and other things.
Absolutely.
That's my thing.
And Dr. Reddy, before we let you go, sir, of course, we just like to understand from you your advice to the general population as well.
General population, this world, we have completely become, westernized in terms of food habits. You need to be having a healthy food, and we completely forgotten our traditional way of consuming food. And of course, smoking, most dangerous. You can't smoke. 3 cigarettes is enough to kill you. Nicotine will be present in our body for 8 hours if you're going to smoke. Smoking should be avoided, and alcohol, of course, your arteries becomes dilated, and the flow of the blood into the arteries are going to be slow, and that will clog your blood vessels. So heart attack is very common if you start smoking, unhealthy habits, and going to consume more alcohol. So advice is be healthy, exercise every day, and avoid these bad habits.
Well, Dr. Durgaprasad Reddy, thank you so much
Thank you
for joining us on NewsX India A-List.